I am just popping in real quick because I have decided to participate in the Daisy Yellow ICAD 2018. Now, this is just basically taking an index card and altering it. She gives daily prompts and weekly themes and all of that to use. I'll link that below in the description, but I'm mostly going to go off the rails and just make a card. Now, I tried to do this last year and didn't have much success, made it less than halfway through. So I'm going to try to record as many of the ones as I can. There's going to be some times when I'm out of town or in a rush or my battery's low or whatever. I'm not going to be able to do this. But I'm going to do as many as I can and share the others in other ways. And you can follow all of this on Instagram and search hashtag DYICAD2018 to see what everybody else is doing. So for now, let me go ahead and show you my first three, and I probably won't do the same introduction in the following ones. But let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them, and let's get to it. To start out this first card, I am just using a basic 3x5 card I got at the grocery store. They're pretty flimsy, so on almost all my cards, I'm going to adhere something to them just to thicken them up a bit. And this one is just a piece of some kind of paper from like the 80s or 90s I found stashed away in a drawer, and I like the typewriter print on it. And I use soft gel matte medium to adhere that, but then I've got my Oohoo glue stick to kind of get all the edges down too. Once I've got that all down and sealed, I pull out a Tim Holtz stencil that I recently got and some Dinah Wakely paints, and I'm just using a cosmetic sponge to adhere that paint to the adhere. I am just using that sponge and slapping that paint through that stencil is what I'm doing there. So once I get that done, I kind of pull out another new item I have, and that is some, I think those are also Dinah Wakely stamps that I got at Tuesday Morning the other day, and I grabbed some StazOn. And I wasn't positive how that stamp was going to do, so I do a tester on my underpaper and just put the StazOn ink on there and stamp it onto that underpaper. And I liked how it came out, so I went ahead and just stamped it straight onto my card. And there it is. It's really nice and pretty. And I was really happy with that there. So I just grabbed some Tim Holtz Chit Chat stickers and picked out a phrase I liked and just wrote it, cut it apart so that I could stick it off on the side of my image there. And I took a Stabilo all pencil and went around those stickers, and I've got a paintbrush here that I'm going to just wet and go around the outside of those over that Stabilo just to give it a little something, highlight it, bring them to the surface a bit, and let those pop out so that phrase shows up. And from there, I think I just take I take a Signo white gel pen and circle some of the little circles from the stencil there. And once I get those circled, I also go back with just a really basic black pen and also circle some of those circles and put dots and just some doodads and things to add a little interest in the back. And then I inked the edges with that StazOn ink there to frame up the card. And from there, I'm pretty sure I'm done at this point. Let's see. Yep. So here is card number 2, and the theme for, or the prompt for it was fireworks, but I don't really go with that. I've got a little something that touches on it. And again, I'm taking that soft gel matte medium and adhering something to it. This time it is an old time card piece, and to cut it apart, I'm using one of my favorite things, which is just a straight edge, a ruler, and tearing along the edge. And I like that I don't have to be as precise with it as with a scissors, because a lot of times with scissors I end up cutting the card too, so tearing that little bit of paper off with the ruler works out fabulously. So after that, I grabbed this cardboard Faber-Castell stencil and some Dinah Wakely gesso, and I'm just putting a little bit on there. I just wanted something to put the names that are in the background, kind of push it to the background, and that worked out great. And then I've got this Dilutions stamp that I have pulled out. It's another thing. I scored it Tuesday morning, and I just put it off to the side because I realized I wanted just a touch of color. So I've got a what is that, distress spray, and I think that's Rusted Hinge, that I just spray on there just to give one little spot of rusty color. And I turned my light on to hopefully help y'all see. And then that's some Dilution spray paint, which I apparently have got gunked up, and it's just a black, and couldn't get it to spray, so I just unscrewed it and splashed that on there, and then tapped and moved the card around to get that ink to move around. I started to dry it, but then I decided I wanted a little more movement from it, and there's my head of me just blowing straight onto the card to try to get that ink to move around. Yeah, I couldn't find a straw to do that, so you got the top of my head there. And they just kind of look like fireworks, but that wasn't what I intended at all, but I really see it now. So I take that Dilution stamp that I had just to put down a couple little pieces to give it just a touch of texture. And once I get those down, I've got one of the Tim Holtz paper dolls and a little phrase I cut out of a large print just book. And I ink that up with some, I think it's Memento ink, with a cosmetic sponge. And then I've got my little girl there, and I'm just going to I think I'm just going to glue those down. No, I'm going to add some of that black ink from the cosmetic sponge around the outside edges again to frame it up like I did on the previous card. And from there, I'm going to use my soft gel medium to glue down the paper doll onto the card. I'm using a little tiny brush, and I would just use Yoo-Hoo with that, but because that's a little bit thicker, I want to use something that's a little more heavy duty. So, but for the book text, I'm just gluing that down with the Yoo-Hoo glue stick. And those are stuck down, and that's pretty much, oh no, no, no. Oh, I always think I'm done, and I'm not done. So I sharpen up my Stabilo all pencil because it was getting really dull. And I am tracing around the outside of that paper doll. Again, I'm just wanting her to kind of pop off the page a little. And then I take a wet paintbrush and go around. And I got a little too much water, so I'm going to dab it off and go around with that wet paintbrush, adding more Stabilo as I needed because I dabbed off too much with the water. And, this is all play and a little bit of trial and error and just seeing what I like. And this one was definitely about seeing, playing. So I'm done with that one, and I'm really happy with it. So here we go with card number 3, the last one in this video series. And once again, I have got that soft gel medium that I am using to glue down. And this time I'm using, it's an old pamphlet from the Coast Guard, and I think it's on boat safety. The title on there says Pleasure Craft, and I just thought that was kind of fun. The prompt for this day was Tilt-A-Whirl, and I don't even touch on that at all in any way. I think this Coast Guard safety manual kind of got me in an aquatic kind of feeling, so I kind of went with that. So again, you saw I used my ruler, the straight edge again, to tear off the paper. And then I've got this, I think that's a Deco Arts stencil. I'm not real positive, but I like the mermaid type scales on it, so I use that along with some alcohol spray that I made with just some alcohol and old markers that I threw in together and let those melt. So I sprayed that on there and got this, it's kind of a neat, like I said, mermaid scale kind of look to it. And then I'm taking a pencil and just making some doodles and just kind of going around some of the shapes that are already there. It's nothing important. I really played with this one a lot. And some masking tape, I just took a short length of it and stuck it here and there and yonder. And again, just trying to make some kind of background. I really didn't want the pleasure craft to stand out on that card. So it's gotten covered up a little bit. And I've got a little bowl, or it's a teacup full of little bits and pieces of paper. And I kind of sorted through that looking for something I could add onto this card, not really sure where it was. And I found this piece of, it's not exactly washi tape, but it's some kind of like a sticker tape that I stuck on there real quick just to add something. And it doesn't really go with the water theme I was going with, but these stamps that I pull out do, that have a bunch of different neat animals, and something drew me to that cute little whale. So I took him and just stamped him onto another piece of that pamphlet and then cut him out real quick, because I knew that I didn't think he would stand out enough if I stamped him straight onto the card. So I thought having something that was a little more, I don't know, less cluttered and colored already would make it work. So from there, I took some, they're like gelatos, they're Colorix, um, little crayon, watered crayons that I colored him with, and then added a little bit of the color to the card just to have that color carry through a little bit. Um, and I really like it, that little whale. I just think he's so darling. And he's not something I would normally add to a card, but like I said, I was really feeling that aquatic theme. So I stuck him down with some Yoo-hoo. I played with him far too long trying to figure out where I wanted him. So finally I was like, oh, I'm just gonna stick him down. And I did. And he worked out perfect. And he covered up that pleasure craft thing, which I kind of like that I did cover it up. At the same time, it was such a funny little thing. And I found that other piece of that sticky back tape and or sticker tape, and stuck it down just to carry that theme through. And I've got it's a really basic pin from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just making some little circle bubble things kind of around him over on one corner. And I'm using that same pen to just write the words "enjoy life" on there. Now, that's not aquatic or tilt-a-whirl or anything related, but something about his little smile made me feel happy and wanted me to remember to enjoy life and everything that comes with it. So I wrote that, and then I used that same pen to just make a little sketchy frame around the outside of the card. And with that, I was done. So here's a quick look at all three of the cards, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks!